So real quick before the video starts, I recorded this whole thing before the whole league got suspended, so keep that in mind, and now into the video. Today we're ranking the top 30 players 25 and under in the NBA. The new generation of players that'll be taking over after this one when guys like LeBron eventually retire. And guys at the bottom of this list are good players, but still have a lot left to prove, while guys more towards the top of the list have really already shown that they either are or will become superstars in the NBA. And we're not going to do what I usually do where we only rank one player from each team, because a lot of teams have more than one player with a lot of potential under 25 years old. So with that said, let's start with number 30 in Miles Turner. And I mean, there's really nothing new with him, so I got nothing to say. And sadly, the same goes for Lonzo Ball at 29. He's playing a little better than he was a season ago, but nothing near the breakout season people were expecting. We're watching all these guys ahead of him like Luka, Trey, and Jason Tatum break out, but Lonzo's still played the same. 28, Marvin Bagley. His first year kinda disappointing and filled with injuries. This year, disappointing and still filled with injuries. And that's really not a good sign for the rest of his career. For number 27, Lauri Markkanen's also been in a similar situation. He was expected to have a big year, maybe even a breakout year, but he's currently even playing worse than he did in his rookie season, and there's been no clear reason as of why. Besides the coaching. Yeah, it's probably the coaching. 26, Kyle Kuzma. I mean, we know how good Kuzma is, and he's really not playing great this year, but we know that that's only because he got put to the side for the Lakers playoff push. And that wasn't his fault, so he still ends up here. Then 25 belongs to Caris LeVert, and he's done a great job of stepping up and having a career year while Kevin Durant's been out and Kyrie Irving pretty much has two all year long. He's dealt with a lot of injuries of his own, but if he can stay healthy, he can become a great player. 24, DeAndre Ayton. As expected, DeAndre is continuing to turn into a great traditional big man, currently averaging 19 and 12 a game. And like I said, he's been great, but sooner or later, he's gonna need to start developing at least a mid-range jump shot. Then on 23, we had to go with Marcus Smart because of how crazy he's been on defense this year. Crap. Alright, I don't care. He turned 26 a few days before I started making this video, so I'm leaving him in. But yeah, he ranks here for his defense because even though he won't win it, he's definitely been playing like a defensive player of the year all season long. Plus, with how well he's been guarding big men, I'm sure he's the guy that the Rockets wish that they had right now. But then Jamal Murray takes 22, and just like Nikola Jokic, Jamal's having a very similar season to what he did last year. I would have liked to see him improve this year, but I mean 18, 4, and 4 at 23 years old is still pretty good. Ranked in at number 21, Andrew Wiggins takes the spot, and he still seems like a weird fit on the Warriors, and he's really not what they need to get wins, but he hasn't played too bad. Still has some problems with his game, but his biggest has always been consistency, and that along with the other issues with his game are why he doesn't crack the top 20. Julius Randle does though and ranks in at number 20. Now last year for the Pelicans, he had everyone thinking the sky was the limit for him, but this year on the Knicks he's been pretty much forgotten about. I think if he was going to be a star, he would have been able to play like one while on this terrible Knicks team. He just hasn't been able to lead his team to wins, and neither has number 19 and De'Aaron Fox. In his 3 years in the league, he's been developing into a great young rising star, but it's still never helped the Kings to a winning record. Now the Kings clearly have a lot of other problems, and maybe a few more than Fox can fix on his own, but that was the reason that we ranked Ja Morant one spot ahead of De'Aaron at 18, and it might be a little controversial to do that, but everyone expected Memphis to be bad this year, after Gasol and Conley left and with Ja being a rookie. But he's been the biggest piece in helping this team stay at about 500 all year long. And for him to average similar numbers to De'Aaron and do it while winning just meant that he had to be ranked ahead of him. And with that said, it might seem a little hypocritical to do that then rank Zach LaVine ahead of Morant at 17, seeing how he's also never been on a winning team, but it's a little different. I mean, if Zach could lead his team to wins, he would be ranked a lot higher, but he still ranks ahead of Ja because the man's putting up 25, 4, and 4 on pretty solid shooting numbers. Plus the Bulls also have a big coaching issue, so it's a little different when comparing these two to each other. But Jaylen Brown ranks in at number 16, and of course at this time last season, on a list like this he would have ranked a lot lower, but it's been great to see him find his role on the Celtics, and even better to see that he's kept things up all year long. He's still only 23, but already proved that he's one of the best all-around players on this list. Shoots a good percentage from 2 and 3, and as we've seen, is pretty good at posterizing star players. And I think it's clear that his 20 point per game average right now now is him just getting started. It's also just a start for D'Angelo Russell at 15. Now I'm hoping that he can help the Wolves finally turn things around with Towns and continue to improve his game and maybe put up at least 25 and 10 a night within the next couple of years. But as you know, with the Wolves, it's better to just not get your hopes up. And speaking of someone making big moves, the same could be said for Brandon Ingram at 14. And I mean, this year we've seen so many young guys break out that we never thought we would, and Brandon proves all it takes is a change of scenery to really turn a career around. He was the Pelicans star player to start this season, and I was worried he'd drop off after Zion joined the team, but he's actually played just as good and really hasn't taken a backseat at all to him. And speaking of a player getting used to playing with another star, that brings us to Kristaps Porzingis at 13. After over a year off from basketball, this season Kristaps was not only asked to try to return to his all-star level, but do it while playing with a superstar in Luka Doncic. And it's taken him a little bit to get back there, but I think he's finally got it. And if this is how things are going to be from now on, Luka and Kristaps are going to be a scary duo once the playoffs come around. Not even to mention for the next 10 plus years in general, if things go as planned, because both men are only 24 and 21 years old. Then we have number 12 in Devin Booker, and not much new here. Devin's still averaging over 25 a game, and the Suns still suck even after their hot start to the season. The only difference now is Devin Booker's a one-time all-star, thanks to some injuries. And at 23 years old, he's still got a long time for the Suns to turn things around. If they ever actually will though, still not too sure about. Number 11, Karl Anthony Towns. And alright, you might be surprised to see Towns at 11, and probably expected him to be higher, and it makes sense, but I couldn't do it. He is injured right now, but even when healthy, the man just doesn't give enough effort. He's terrible on defense and currently ranks 405 out of 513 players for defensive win shares. He's not a great leader and has never led his team to wins. He definitely puts up some of the best stats in the game today, but because of everything else, I just couldn't rank him any higher. And that's why, for instance, Donovan Mitchell ranks ahead of him at number 10. His game translates to wins, and his team's made the playoffs every year since he's been drafted, and he's currently averaging 24 points a game. He may not be putting up the same stats that Towns does, but he's a much better leader on and off the court. Then ranked one spot ahead of him at number 9 is Ben Simmons. And I've said it before, but I'll say it again. Personally, at this moment, the hype around Ben Simmons is just gone for me. Sure, he's gotten a little better on the court due to experience, but that's it. Since joining the league 3 years ago, nothing about his game has changed, and because of it, it's created an issue with the 76ers spacing. He's averaged basically the same numbers every single season, and I think because of that, it's going to take a huge change for him to start to live up to the hype that he had around him coming out of college. At number 8 though, Jason Tatum has turned things around, and it's why I won't completely give up on Ben, because these young guys have shown that it just takes one season where something clicks to turn everything around. And it seems that right now, everyone's on Jason's side again because he's been showing off the potential that everyone's been waiting to see. The potential to be a superstar in a couple of years. And he's on the right track. His game took a huge leap these past few months, and he's starting to transition from a good jump shooting scorer to a great all-around player. Number 7, Zion Williamson. And if we're talking about potential, Zion deserves to be ranked in the top 3 of this video. But since we're talking about how good these guys are right now, Zion falls back here. Now, even with that said, I wanted to rank him higher, but it was tricky. And the only reason I didn't was because he's currently not taking any jump shots. The tricky thing though is because he's averaging 59% in the paint, so it's hard to knock him because why would he take jump shots when he can score even easier in the paint? When players play off of him anyways, and he can still drive past them and dunk on them. So he doesn't need to shoot, but for now though, I just left him here under some more proven players. But if he does start shooting consistently, the man could average 28 a game easily, and when he does that, he'll probably be top 3 on this list. Number 6, Pascal Siakam. And this is my point, I couldn't rank a rookie Zion Williamson over an NBA champion in Siakam, even though they're averaging similar numbers. Right now, Siakam's game is more complete, and not to mention he's currently helping lead the Raptors to one of the best records in the NBA. He is about to turn 26, so this will be his last year on a list like this, but for now he still makes it. Trae Young then takes number 5, and it may sound hypocritical to put him here after I ranked Towns at 11 because he didn't lead his team to wins and couldn't play defense. But I mean, for one, Trae's averaging nearly 30 and 10 right now, and for 2, the Hawks have a much younger roster, and it's only Trae's second year. So for now he ranks this high, but say the Hawks don't get better in the next couple of years with the amount of young talent that they have, then then I'll rank him lower down the line. Number 4, Joel Embiid. By the time this video is put out, Joel will have just turned 26, but currently as of the making of it, he's still 25, so I'm leaving him in. And this year hasn't been great for him, but when he's healthy and everything's going right, he's got one of the best blends of offense and defense of anyone 25 and under. And for someone that's capable of averaging 27 and 13 like he did a season ago, it was an easy choice to rank him here. Still one spot ahead of him though at number 3 is Nikola Jokic. And now I'm worried about his future. He is finally back in better shape, but has been putting up the same numbers for the past 3 seasons. Hopefully the man didn't already peak, but the Nuggets roster is crowded and he's still only 24, so there's plenty of time for him to still improve. And ranked above all of them is Luka Doncic at number 2. Still putting up a near 30-point triple-double with 28 points, 9 rebounds, and almost 9 assists a game, while playing great alongside another star in Kristaps, as well as leading the Mavs to a pretty much guaranteed playoff spot at this point. And he's great in the regular season, but we'll really get to see what he's made of this postseason. Then, of course, number 1 goes to Giannis, no question. He just turned 25 not too long ago, is the only MVP on this list, and will soon be the only 2-time MVP on the list. I mean, honestly, LeBron is making a great case for it too, but with seeing just how much Giannis is doing every night in only 30 minutes of play and leading his team to the best record in the league, I would say it's gotta go to him. And he's definitely head and shoulders above anybody over 25 years or under right now. But comment what you think of this list and what changes you would have made. Don't forget to drop a like, subscribe, and I'll catch you next video.